Today we're talking all about the Iron Twins. Hey there, I'm LeilaFox. Today's lore story is all about the Iron Twins. Now what's really interesting about this is probably one of the first stories Raid has done that's actually about a dungeon boss. Granted, we have some other lore stories where we talk about the Hydra, but the Hydra is actually in a lore story with Mithrala, and there was a really quick lore story done for the Doom Tower. But as far as actual bosses in the game, this is the first one of its kind. Let's get into the lore story for the Iron Twins from the Tolarian Lore Book of Champions.
Ireth was a blight. The evil experiments conducted by its mad mages were the stuff of nightmares and cautionary tales. The world feared Ireth. But fortunately, Ireth was isolated, of no danger to anyone beyond its walls. Until, one day, creatures and slaves were seen creeping along the dunes at night, and nomad caravans traveling to nearby Velziar began going missing. Ships were lost, and dark magic was seen. Ireth was quiet no longer. All the factions of Teleria were alarmed, but it was the dwarves who were the first to act. They called a conclave in the dwarven city of Port Wretched, and every faction sent representatives. Even the Dark Elves and the Night Revenant came. Despite the cult's nominal control over Ireth, clearly, expansion was not what the elders of the cult had intended. This turned out to be a problem. Nobody trusted each other enough to form a coalition to march on Ireth. But there was another suggestion. Use a war machine to march on Ireth alone. The artificers among the conclave confirmed that the idea was feasible. There was only one problem. They would need 2 souls to control it. They found 2 suitable candidates, the High Clerics of the Light and Chaos Divinities, the Churches of the Tolarian League, and the Gallon Pact. Divided by their church associations, but united by their shared faith in the power of Lumea, the 2 were bound to the Golem. The Iron Twins were brought to the Irethi coast on a dwarven warship, and, once they were anchored as close ashore as they dared, the twins stepped off the deck into the depths of the bay. When they emerged from the water in the docks district of Ireth, they were greeted with curiosity. The twins answered with violence. The docks were rubble within minutes. Irethi's soldiers assaulted the Iron Twins, but they answered with sweeping destruction from their voltaic blades. Flying monsters attacked, but they were blown to pieces by air-bursting munitions. Mages threw up barriers and flung their strongest spells, but were incinerated by the Iron Twins' burning eye. Within hours, the monstrous army that Ireth had planned to unleash in the world was little more than ash and blood, scattered on the city's shattered stones. The Iron Twins marched on. Desperate to protect the towers at the heart of Ireth, the Irethi committed their final resource, Ascension itself. They flung thousands of potions on the Iron Twins, hoping that madness would halt what weapons could not touch. They did. The Iron Twins slowed, then stopped, then knelt. To the watching members of the conclave on the ship offshore, they knew only that the Iron Twins stood back up and called to parley with their surviving defenders of Ireth. The defenders escorted the twins into the city, and the golems disappeared from view. The Irethi Empire never did get made. The army was lost, and the Warhawk slain. The Iron Twins had succeeded, but there were no celebrations, for the conclave may have unleashed something even worse.
Alright, that was the lore story for the Iron Twins. And what I really like about this is that it included all kinds of different factions from the game. You know, we're talking about the Night Revenants, we're talking about the Dwarves. And in particular, what I love about the Dwarves is that this lore story included their ingenuity. It talks about how they're the ones that actually created and developed this Iron Twin robot that was supposed to be a weapon on their side. But then by a different series of circumstances that had happened, the robot ended up shutting down and is now, it looks like that this is how it ends up in the dungeon, and it ends up being this dungeon boss. Leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you think for the lore story for Iron Twins. And honestly, would you love to see more lore stories for bosses and dungeon bosses in the game? Hey, check out some more videos up here in the playlist in the top right.